بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum. Today it is the 3rd of June, Thursday, the 3rd of June 2021, and we're bringing you another broadcast and videocast in the series Reflections on the Holy Quran. And in this series, it is broadcast number 216, and in this, we are going to be looking at chapter 2, verse 87, and this is part 1 of that broadcast. These broadcasts are brought to you by the Lahore Ahmadiyya community, which was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian. He taught us that although people want to bring another prophet, or, old or new after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, but the Holy Quran called the Holy Prophet Khatmun Nabiyyin, and he said it means La Nabi Abad. So no prophet is now going to come, whether an old prophet or a new one. And his claim, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's claim was that he was the Mujaddid, the reformer of the 14th century of Hijrah. And the Holy Prophet had promised the coming of reformers or Mujaddids after he had gone. But Hazrat Sahab's distinction was that the Holy Prophet Muhammad had used for him the words Messiah and Mahdi. He also taught us that although people say that Ayah Rajam and Surah Walayat are missing from the Holy Quran, all prophetic revelation that Gabriel brought for the Holy Prophet Muhammad is with us in the form of the Holy Quran. Nothing has been left out. He also taught that although people say that some verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated, even Hazrat Shah Waliullah said that at his time people said 512 verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated, and he said, I've investigated and my research shows me that it's only 7 verses which are abrogated. Hazrat Sahib said, not a single verse of the Holy Quran was, is, or ever shall be abrogated. Again, he said, Muslims should follow the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and rather than take delight in calling each other kafir, remember the hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad that if one reciter of the kalima says to another that you are a heretic, then it is the person saying that who becomes the heretic. And although many people delight in making jihad a bloody war, so that you take a sword and cut someone's head off if he doesn't embrace Islam or doesn't agree with you. But Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that the Holy Prophet himself defined what jihad is. While returning from a battle, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, from the minor jihad, from the lesser jihad, we return to the greater jihad. And then explained that the greater jihad is the struggle with your own negative desires, envy, hatred, jealousy, greed. The list is a long one, and you know all these things. That is the major jihad. So we are going to talk about chapter 2, verse 87 today. So let us, if I can find the English translation. Let's go to that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب وكفينا من بعده بالرسل وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس أفكلما جاءكم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسكم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون. So I'm not going to discuss the first four words, because wa, that just means and, used in millions of places. Musa is just a name. We know what it means, name of a great prophet. So the first word is kitab, that we are going to discuss, and then kafaina, and then ba'd. So these are the words we are going to discuss this time. So let's get to my notes on the internet about the word. Basically, this word means sewing two things together. Particularly applies to things made of leather. So Kataba was the name given by the Arabs to stop their she-camels from conceiving by mating with any camel. So they would basically put a ring through there so that the she-camel could not just mate with anyone. And for other things, it's also used, such as in India and Pakistan, and I guess in Arabia as well. They make like a container from leather skin, and then you fill it with water, and then you tie the end tightly with a rope or something. So the same thing is used for that. And this is how it has come to be used for a book, because you take scattered pages and you bind them together so that you don't have to look for separate pages. You noticed that I said English translation, and I just went and I picked something up, and all the pages were together. But we can take one step back, because it means putting two things together. And one idea is that I already mentioned, but as far as writing is concerned, one idea is that you're taking letters and you're putting them together and making words, then you're putting words together and making sentences, and you're writing them down. So joining these things in this way yeah, is in Urdu it's an ordinary word. Kitab, Katib is someone who writes a book. Kitabat is the act of writing it, and so on. But because the same or a similar thing is done when you speak, as you can see, I'm taking words and I'm joining them and making sentences and then conveying them to you. So, as a metaphor, the same word is actually used for speaking as well. And because it's used for that, we know that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam brought God's revelation for the Holy Prophet Muhammad in oral form. And then it was written down and so on. So it was oral, what Hazrat Jibreel brought. And that is why the Quran is also called Kitab. Right at the very beginning, chapter 2, verse 1, it says, Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fihi. In this book, referring to the Holy Quran, in this book there is no doubt. Again, the Holy Quran says, Inni Abdullahi Ataniyal Kitab. Chapter 19, verse 30. I am Abdullah. I know it's a name as well, but it means I am God's servant. I'm his Abd. And he has given me a book. Obviously, we know that this was a demand by the other communities. But what do they used to say to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why do you always say that an angel came and told you? Why doesn't God send down a book in which everything is written and you show it to us and we'll believe it? So, and we have, chapter 4, verse 153 refers to what I just said. Yes, yes, aluka ahlul kitabi an tunazzila alayhim kitabam minas samai. That we ask you to bring down a written codex from heavens. And because it's the basic concept is putting things together, this word also applies to intention, determination, duty, something that is incumbent upon you to do. So it says, Kataballahu la'aghlibanna ana wa rusuli, chapter 58, verse 21. That God's command is absolute. Kataballah, God's command, God's order, that I and my prophets, my messengers shall prevail. But here the word Kataba is used for God, something God has ordained, his order. And same thing applies, happens in chapter 9, verse 51. Ma kataballahu lana. Tell them, no distress, evil, etc. can touch us except what Allah has decreed. And you can also say Allah has fated. So here fate is also included in this. And as I said earlier on, that it also means uh, duty, something that God has ordained and ordered you to do. And the most obvious example of that is that it's quoted every year and no one takes any kind of, no one notices this. Koteba, kuteba, alaikumus siyamu. The word is kotiba. And what does it mean? A duty upon you to fast. And that's not an isolated incident. Chapter 4, verse 6, chapter 4, verse 76. Lima kutabta alaynal qital. Why did you make jihad a duty? And again, chapter 5, verse 27. Ma katabnaha alayhim. We had not ordered this. We had not made this their duty. And again, as I said, it can also mean fate, because something that God has ordained will happen in the future. So in chapter 59, verse 3, it says, وَلَوْلَا أَن كَتَبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ مُلْ جَلَالَ. If God had not fated, if God had not decreed, if God had not written in their fate that they'll have to leave their homes. So you can see it can mean fate. And then we have chapter 58, verse 22. Ulaika kataba fi qulubihimul imana wa ayyadahum biruhin. Chapter 58, verse 22. These are the people in whose hearts faith has entered, has been written in their hearts, and God has helped them from the unseen. So that is also a kind of faith. And then, of course, we know about the book in which all the deeds are written, which will be presented. And I'll just mention it again if I've already mentioned it previously, that the word lanat comes from this. This is the opposite of nearness. Qurb is nearness. Sorry, I've jumped a word. I've jumped a word. So, as I said, this is about it. About it also means contract. Yeah, Surah Nur. That if any of your slaves want to buy their freedom, then make a contract with them. And they ask for a contract, then write a contract with them. So it also means contract. So, okay. Next one is, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing there. And without thinking, started reading out my notes. The next word is kafaina, and its root is kaf, fa, wa. It's used very few times in the Holy Quran. And in 5 times it's used in the Holy Quran, and in 2 different forms, 4 times in one form, kafai, and takfu once. And it means to follow, to pursue, to go after, to come after, and so on. So what you got to remember is that after can be in space, or it can be in time, and it can also mean well, we'll come to the other things. So literally, you can say it means to follow someone, to come after someone. But it can mean obey as well, that you're following someone, or you're obeying them. It also means to backstab, to backbite other people. And interestingly, it also means guesswork in the sense of spreading rumors. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ. Chapter 17, verse 36. O people, what you don't know, why do you make guesses about it? And this is about the hereafter and many other things. And this is so common in Pakistan, for example, that someone says something and a rumor starts and no one bothers to check. They just carry on, repeating it and repeating it. Someone told me something and I said, well, that can't be correct. And they said, why not? So and so told me, and he's a very big government official and all this kind of thing, he should know. But the point is, you don't know. You're just guessing. You don't know the source of his information and knowledge. And it also, as I said, in the way that it's used here, that we sent one prophet another after each other. We sent one prophet and another, one after another. So, and interestingly, I forgot to mention this in the Urdu one, the word kafia also comes from this. Those into Urdu poetry would know what kafia is, because words come one after another, following the particular route. So, let us see. Where are we? No. Right, okay. Let's go on to the next word we were going to do, which is Baad. Baadihi. And it's triliteral. Root is Ba Ghain Dal. And it comes in the Holy Quran 235 times, 199 times in one form, Baad, and then 25 times as Ba'id, and then other forms once or twice. And then basically it means after or away. And distance in the sense, physical sense, and in the sense of time, etc., etc. but mostly it's the noun after. That it occurs in. Okay, where are we? Where are we? Right. And right, where are we? So as I said, it means, and I started reading this a few minutes ago by because I clicked on the wrong thing and didn't look at the title, just started reading. Um, Al-Baud means distance, and it's the opposite of Qurb, which means nearness. And there is no limit to how much distance. It's not an inch or a feet or a foot, or I guess these days I should be politically correct and use meters and so on, but there we are, not a mile or whatever it is. Um, and it can, in chapter 4, it's used metaphorically when in verse 36, God says that they have gone far away from where? From the right path. They've gone far away. Dalalan la ba'ida. And then chapter 41, verse 44, again, they're called from, as if they're called from a long way away. But it's also used because of this aspect of distancing to indicate death, as in chapter 11, verse 95, when talking about the people of the tribe Thamud. It says, Ba'idad Thamud, as they were destroyed, they were killed, and so on. So here, in the next one, is what I was going to say earlier for some reason. Abod lil Qawmi Zalimi, chapter 23, verse 41. So, on Zalim people, may they be cursed. But you can see this word is used meaning that they are a long way away. They are far away from Allah because of their actions, because of their injustice. They've gone away from Allah. And again, in chapter 23, verse 44, those who do not believe. Now, we'll translate that into Urdu or English. May they be cursed. But I think a better translation would be that those who don't believe, they move away from God. They lose God's nearness. Although we say, because curse is taken in some different ways, with different meanings and so on. And then we have, this is the last word we are going to do today. As I said, yes, this is about all, I think. There's nothing more. It's opposite of nearness, I've already said. And yes, I think that's about all. about this. But I just wanted to stress the point that people take these things to curse to, I don't know what they take it to mean. But in Islamic terminology, it actually means that you distance yourself from Allah. Because you have, the mighty, the ruler of the universe, and he's kind and he's merciful and so on, and nice, and he grants you everything. And by your actions, you, create a distance. I mean, it's just like, if you have a brother or parents or whatever, and they do everything for you and bring you up and so on, and they, you then never ring and ask them how they are, whether they need anything or whatever. Although God doesn't need anything, but anyway, what have you done? You distanced yourself from them. So, in my view, that is the sense in which that word is used. Just to remind you that we don't have these broadcasts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On Friday, we have the Friday sermon at 1 p.m., and that is in English. And then on Sunday, we have Dawat al-Masih Maud at 2 p.m. UK time, and then that is followed by the Call of the Messiah, which is the same topic, and it's repeated in the English language. So with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and